Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about a question from a subscriber. I want to go over it. It's about real estate and it's about mortgaging yourself to the nine pretty much prior to hyperinflation in this country. But it has to do with any country and hyperinflation. It is very important because I get this question a lot and I want to go over it today, okay? All right. And this is somebody that was asking a question about the side hustle course because I put out a new lesson and it was actually in the real estate section. So I let them know that if you guys have bought the side hustle course, there is a new lesson in the section. I put it out like a week and a half ago. Okay, but those are just CYA. We are gonna come out with a full course on how to get ready for this crash in the real estate market now. All right, so this is the question. He said he sent his brother the 30-minute video that I recently did about Saudi Arabia backing China for the next 50 years. He mentioned that now might be a good time to get into a mortgage before the US dollar hyperinflates. That way, the $300,000 mortgage will be easier to pay off if you lock in the price now, and in 5 years, you're making $100K per year because of hyperinflation. I hadn't considered that because you mentioned buying homes with little to no money down. What are your thoughts on getting a mortgage now before hyperinflation, and do you see the scenario playing out the way I described above? Now, first off, there's some holes in that description or that question, okay? Because he says, in 5 years, you're making $100,000 per year. So I'm only assuming that he makes less than $100,000, but he thinks he's gonna make more with hyperinflation, all right? And then he gives some other things that just don't really put a whole picture together. So first off, I want to explain that there's a lot to buying real estate and dealing with hyperinflation. There are so many different dynamics, and we're going to go over those right now. First off, the first dynamic that's a very flexible and movable is that are you going to have a job as hyperinflation takes off, all right? The reason why I say that is most people are in a fairy tale when they read back on situations like Venezuela, Turkey, even going way back to Weimar Republic of Germany when there was hyperinflation, especially in, let's say use Weimar, because that's the one that people think the most about when in those photos of wheelbarrow loads of currency were getting moved around, right? To go and pay bills, to go buy food. Now, so first off, I want to break apart time because a lot of people, they see that and they think instantaneously it happened like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these steps, one after another, really fast in very fast sequence. And they think that all of a sudden there was hyperinflation, the currency lost value, so the government just started printing money and handing it to you, so you had a ton of it. Well, that is true, but it's only true to a certain point. See, because it took a long time. There's this lag time from when the economy starts doing poorly and the government actually acts. The truth is, governments are reactionary and they're never proactive. And the reason why, it's a very basic, fundamental human emotion or situation, is that nobody wants to be blamed for something that other people don't know they had nothing to do with. How do you put this right? Let me give an example. You're on a ship and it's a big ship and you are not the captain of the ship, but you're on the deck, you're on the bridge, and you're seeing another ship coming out in the distance and you're looking at your course and you're going, boy, it looks like we're headed right for that guy. And I want to say something, but the captain's standing right there and he doesn't seem to care. And I'm looking at our course, I'm like, man, that ship it's far away, but it looks like we are headed right for it. I want to say something, but I don't want to say something. Captain's right there, he's just, staring off. And the whole time the captain's honestly just going, wonder what I should eat for dinner later. He's looking out in the distance, doesn't even see the ship. And the whole time, the next guy that's over next to him going, crap, maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe the sea change is the current's going to drift us off to the side and we're going to just go by them and we're going to wave and it's going to be super nice. You're like, hey, other ship, how you doing? I'm not going to say anything. The whole time, the captain's like, yep, roast beef. That's what I'm going to get, roast beef. It's going to be delicious. I can't, believe, I wonder why my girlfriend doesn't like me anymore. Maybe it's because I've had too much roast beef. Nope, that couldn't be it. And the whole time, this guy next to the captain's going, crap, man, we're getting closer. That ship's getting closer. But there's got to be a good reason. There's got to be a good reason until the day they run into each other, right? Well, the guy didn't want to step up to the captain and say, Captain, do you see that? Let's move. Because afraid of the captain going, are you an idiot? Like, you didn't know that this ship is made with, special currency things and it just sort of slides right by. and that's what happens with politicians. They don't want to like see a problem and go out and go, hey, you need to fix this. And then if something goes wrong or it's not perceived to have solved the problem, then they get blamed for it, right? So in money, in circumstances like that, finances, politicians don't want to fix things right away. So they wait until things are really bad and people are screaming at them like, we promise if you give us more money, we'll vote you in. They're like, all right, that's all I needed. And then they start giving you money. Well, the problem is that time lag in between is when people are losing their jobs. People are in the hurt locker. People stop spending money. They stop speculating in markets. They stop buying real estate, things like that, right? And the market gets worse and worse. And that's when the deluge of money comes. So the sprinkling of money by the government over its people takes quite some time, or wage increase takes a long time. It takes a lot of pain. It takes a lot of people from the same company going to their boss and go, if you don't give us a raise, we're leaving or we're striking. So that takes a while. It takes a long time to be in the hurt locker for people to rise up. And that's what people don't realize. And so a lot of people sit there and they go, hey, I want to get into super debt, right? Get a ton of debt on the books, including a mortgage, because I want this to hyperinflate itself away. I want to be able to get those benefits of being able to get more money to pay off my mortgage. Now that's only happened one time in America, and it was during the Civil War when Lincoln created the greenback, and it was worth about for every currency note, what was it, the Continental dollar? I'm blanking out. The greenback was worth 1/3. There was 3 of those to make one, and that army was able to pay off their home. That only happened that one time. It was during a time of war, and even then, the banks, it went all the way to the Supreme Court because the banks were screaming and yelling that they don't want this worthless crap currency, to pay off mortgages. So it's very rare that this stuff happens. So the thing is you have to ask yourself one question. Am I getting myself into too much debt? And in that too much debt, I guess the second question is, do I think I'm going to be able to hold on my job? And am I going to have the same amount of hours and the same pay for that time being where there's all of that pain? Now, the other thing I try and warn people about is when you're buying in a low rate interest rate environment, when it comes to real estate, and they raise interest rates on you, which is happening right now, and it's going to get a lot worse. I believe you're going to see mortgages well into the double digits, if not over 20% one day. And I believe that's going to happen in the next couple, 2-3 years. What's going to happen is your value of your house plummets. So now if you had any money in their equity, it's gone. All right, so you can't access that. And you can't access it not only because it's not there, but because you can't afford the higher interest rate payments. All right. So that's the other thing that you have to think about too. So house price plummets as interest rates go up. So what would you rather do? Would it be better to buy now and then hope that you're going to have that hyperinflate your debt away? I think that's more of a poor man's mentality rather than waiting for interest rates to spike, having a good credit score and some money off to the side and buying distressed assets, those houses that are going to be worth a lot less, and then turning around and being able to afford more of those homes, right? Stop thinking about the one house that you can hopefully pay off through hyperinflation because you made it through the hurt locker when most people didn't, okay? And that's rare because when crashes happen because everybody's hurt, all right? I want you to be like the 1%, the elite thinkers, where you go, no, I'm not gonna think about one house that I can pay off. I'm gonna think about buying 10 homes, and I'm gonna be able to pay all of those off in a short amount of time because of how I'm gonna manage them and deal with the rents. Speaking of real estate, if you guys haven't followed the Real Estate Ninja, he's a cool guy. We got a little bit in common, but other than our looks, we're totally different. But go check him out on YouTube. I think that is more of a better strategy when it comes to paying off a house during a hyperinflation. And again, if you're in America, we're not going to exactly hyperinflate you the way you think. We're not gonna be a Weimar Republic, but we are gonna see a doubling of prices, I believe, from here. But that, in and of itself really truly isn't hyperinflation. The facts are there's no real good definition of hyperinflation. I've heard so many different definitions. Are we gonna be hyperinflating in certain aspects like what we saw in lumber 2 years ago? Yes. Are we gonna be across the board? No, because we're already starting deflation in certain aspects. All right, guys, I hope you got something out of this. I thank you so much for watching. With that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.